The Ashworth Hall Phantom, a Hercule Poirot mystery. It wasn't the letter's arrival that was strange. It was the ink, black, but still wet. Hastings placed the envelope on the table. No return address, no stamp. A gold crest. Ashworth family. Poirot examined it. He sliced it open, removed the letter, sniffed, tapped the ink. Still wet, he said. He read aloud. Mr. Poirot, I require your help. A phantom has appeared, a figure in flames, word written in the air, staff terrified, renovations stopped. There may be truth in the family curse. Sir Reginald Ashworth. Hastings frowned. What is this? A riddle and a warning. Poirot folded the letter. We leave today. They boarded the train. Poirot stayed silent. Hastings studied the note. Why write if he doesn't believe the curse? Fear doesn't require belief, Poirot said. You think someone staged this? Poirot nodded. To keep people out. Or to hide something inside. At the station, a driver met them. He handed Poirot another note. Another sighting. Word was mort. Staff refusing night shifts. Lacey Poirot pocketed it. French, Hastings said. Death, Poirot replied. Ashworth Hall. No greetings, no waiting. Mrs. Lacey escorted them inside, straight to Sir Reginald. He looked tired, pale. Mr. Poirot, thank you, Poirot nodded. The phantom? A burning figure, it appears. It writes, then disappears. The word? Mort. Always the same. Witnesses? Too many. Damage? Not physical, but morale is broken. Renovations? Stopped. Anyone staying here? No guests. Family? Only my cousin, Nigel. He's away. Anyone know the house layout well? My cousin and Lacey. Poirot turned to Mrs. Lacey. Any history of tricks? No, sir. Poirot said, I want full access. Plans, rooms, staff names. Granted, Sir Reginald said. Poirot stood. We begin tonight. Hastings asked, Do you believe in curses? Poirot replied, Only the ones men create. The fog didn't just cover the trees, it swallowed the road whole. The car stopped. No one spoke. Poirot stepped out first. Hastings followed. The door opened before they knocked. Mrs. Lacey stood inside. You're expected. Where's Sir Reginald? Poirot asked. In the study. They entered. No greetings, no small talk. Mrs. Lacey led them down a narrow hallway. Staff are uneasy, she said. Poirot asked, Any incidents today? Number but last night? Again, same thing, same word. Hastings asked, More? She nodded. And heat, but no fire found. Poirot didn't respond. They reached the study. Sir Reginald stood. Thank you both. Poirot sat. Give me facts, not feelings. Sir Reginald began. The figure appears in the great hall, always at night. Silent, glowing, covered in flames. No damage? Number only fear. What about timing? Always after midnight. Poirot nodded. Continue. The message appears amid-air. Same word every time. Staff? Terrified. We've lost 2 maids already. Renovations? Frozen. Workers won't return. Poirot asked, Have you seen it yourself? Sir Reginald hesitated. Once. It was brief. What did you feel? Cold. But the figure was fire. Where is your cousin? In London. He's been informed. Anyone else with access to the hall at night? Only Mrs. Lacey and myself. Poirot turned to Hastings. Not many suspects? Sir Reginald added, There's more. The mirrors go on. During the last incident, I saw the fire, reflecting. It bounced. From what? The mirrors in the Great Hall. They were part of the last renovation. Placement? Facing each other. Poirot leaned forward. Show me. They left the study. Mrs. Lacey walked ahead. She opened a tall door. This is the Great Hall. Poirot stepped inside. Hastings followed. Long room, high ceiling, stone floor. walls lined with tall mirrors. Poirot pointed. "Victorian?" "Yes," Lacey said. "Who requested them?" "Sir Reginald's late father." Poirot moved closer to one mirror. "Convex," he said. "Not decorative. Functional, Sir Reginald joined. I never noticed." Poirot touched the edge. "Who cleaned them recently?" "No one. No one dares." Poirot knelt, ran his hand along the base. He stood up. "Draft?" "From where?" Hastings asked. Poirot didn't answer. He walked to the opposite wall. Same type of mirror. Same faint air movement. He stepped back. This room was redesigned. Sir Reginald asked, "For what?" Poirot didn't reply. A scream cut through the silence. A servant's voice from the hallway. He's appeared again. Flames don't make noise, but this one whispered. The great hall was dark. Poirot gave instructions. No lights, no speaking. Hastings stood near the back wall. Mrs. Lacey locked the doors from the inside. Sir Reginald waited near the entrance. All eyes watched the center. No movement, no sound. Poirot whispered, "Wait." Minutes passed. A faint click echoed. Then stillness again. Poirot stepped forward. Once, then, it appeared. A figure, tall, covered in orange glow. It didn't walk. It glided. No sound of footsteps, no heat, no smell, but light shimmered around it. It lifted one arm. A trail of fire extended from its hand. It wrote in the air. Mort. The letters burned, hung briefly, then faded. The figure stopped. It turned toward them. No face, only light. Poirot held his breath. The figure stood still, then vanished. No sound, no trace. Mrs. Lacey gasped. Sir Reginald stepped back. Poirot raised his hand. "Do not move." He walked to the center, to where it had stood. He crouched, found something. A scrap of cloth. He picked it up. Edges warm, slightly glowing. Poirot sniffed it. Rubbed it between his fingers. "Powder," he said. Hastings joined. "Anything else?" Poirot held it up. "Smell? Chemical, sharp, like sulfur." Poirot nodded. He examined the walls, then the mirrors. He walked to the far side. Touched a mirror. Stepped aside. Touched another. Same tilt, same angle. He turned to Hastings. "They're angled. On purpose?" "Yes, to reflect. Light? And illusions." Poirot walked to the wall where air moved, pressed his palm, tapped lightly, hollow. He looked down. Fine dust, not dirt, something artificial. "It moved from here," Poirot said. "You mean the phantom? Number the person pretending." Poirot walked back to the center, looked straight up, then back at the mirrors, pointed to 4. Same type, same curve, same height. "Why does that matter?" Hastings asked. "They're part of the trick. Projection. Number reflection." He looked again at the cloth, held it low, still glowing. He folded it, pocketed it. Mrs. Lacey walked over. "Have you seen enough?" Poirot didn't turn. "Number. But I've seen what I needed." Sir Reginald asked, "What does it mean?" Poirot didn't answer. He walked the perimeter, paused near the fireplace, looked at the mirror above it, then stepped away, took out a notepad, made a few marks, closed it. He looked at Hastings. "This is no ghost," he said slowly, "but something far worse. One mirror showed my face. The next, someone standing behind me." Poirot returned to the great hall. Morning. Hastings followed. No one else entered. "Observe," Poirot said. "Do not speak." He walked to the first mirror, left wall, convex, dustless. He turned. The next mirror reflected the first. He stepped back. Another caught the same line. "They form a path?" Hastings asked. Poirot nodded. "Not decoration, purpose." He pointed to a reflection. "Follow it." Hastings looked. Light bounced. Each mirror pushed it forward. Poirot adjusted a candle. Light jumped, glass to glass. Straight line, then gone. Hastings leaned in. Where did it go? Poirot traced the line. Into the corner. He tapped the wall. Hollow. Draft came from here last night. Hastings pressed the surface. Solid, but cold. Something is behind, Poirot said. He moved to the other side. Same setup, same angle. He touched the mirror's edge. Faint powder. Poirot stepped back, to center again. 4 mirrors face inward. A trap? Hastings asked. No, Poirot said. A stage. He turned to the main door, looked above it. 5th mirror. Tilted downward, marked it in his notebook. Poirot walked the wall again. Crouched, scuff, mark, then another. Same height. He checked the floor. A groove. Narrow. Something slides here? Hastings asked. Yes. He followed it. To a panel. Pressed it. Nothing. Checked the edges. Same dust. Same cold. Still sealed. He stood. Someone knows how to open it. Who? Someone who knows the house. Poirot returned to the mirrors. Positioned himself between 2. Raised his hand. Reflections duplicated. 1 arm became 4. Hastings stepped forward. His image split. Perfect for misdirection, Poirot said. Back to center. He turned sharply. Where was the figure last night? Here, Hastings pointed. Poirot nodded. Right under the bounce point. The what? Where all mirrors align. He pulled out the cloth. Still glowing faintly. Held it up. Moved to the first mirror. Light caught, bounced, then again and again. Reflections formed a glow. Not flame, but bright. Poirot smiled. Zinc sulfide. Light activates it. No projector, Hastings asked. Number just mirrors. And powder. Poirot walked to the wall. Faced the sealed panel. Paused. A breeze hit Hastings's neck. He turned, fast. The wall behind him hadn't moved. But the air was real. Something was breathing behind it. We stepped into darkness. The walls didn't echo. They listened. Poirot examined the panel. Pressed the groove. No movement. He stepped back. Then forward. Tapped once, twice, 3rd time. A faint click. The panel shifted. A narrow gap opened. Cold air leaked out. Poirot turned to Hastings. Bring the lantern. Hastings lit it. Held it high. They entered. Stone walls. Tight path. No windows, no sound. Poirot walked steadily. Didn't speak. They reached a fork. Left, blocked. Right, sloped down. Poirot chose right, steps uneven. The air, mold, dust, rot. 10 minutes in, tunnel widened. A wooden door, ahead. Poirot pushed. It opened, outward. They stepped out. Hard ground, wet. Poirot scanned the area. Ground is disturbed. Hastings looked down. Boot prints. Poirot crouched. Deep, recent, large size, he pointed. A second pair, smaller. Then paused. Drag marks. He followed them. Trail ended. Edge of the water. Still no words. Poirot stood still. This is the estate's lake? Hastings asked. Yes. Poirot pointed left. A dock. They walked to it. Old wood. Ropes, coiled. Poirot knelt. Fresh scrape marks. A boat came in here. Recently. Poirot nodded. Touched a rope. Wet. He stood. Phantom enters by water. Hastings added, then uses the passage. Correct. No need to use the main gates. Poirot looked at the trees. Dense. Shore invisible from the house. He walked back to the marks. Measured boot prints. Same size as last night's, he said. Hastings moved toward the far dock edge. Paused. Poirot, what is it? Hastings knelt. Something's here. He reached down, pulled up a glove, torn, wet, stained, dark red smears across the palm. Hastings stood. This isn't mud, he said. Poirot took the glove, rubbed the stain, sniffed it. Blood. Not all family ghosts are dead. Poirot asked to speak with Mrs. Lacey. They met in the storage office. Door shut. No staff nearby. "Tell me about the family," Poirot said. She hesitated. "Everything," he added. She nodded once. Sir Reginald's father was strict, obsessed with order. Enemies? None spoken, but trusted few. Poirot asked, "And the jewels?" Her eyes narrowed. "You've heard?" "Yes." She looked away. The Candish jewels were hidden before the war, a family heirloom, gone for 50 years. Stolen, vanished, during a grand ball. Panic followed, nothing found. Who knew where they were kept? The 5th Earl. He left no map, only a diary. Still in the house? Yes, in the library archives. Poirot took note. Did Reginald ever look for them? Briefly. Gave up. Poirot leaned forward. What about Nigel Pembroke? She frowned. Reginald's cousin. Born trouble. Details. He gambles. Drinks. Owes money across cities. Poirot asked, "How much?" "Last I heard, Monte Carlo. A large sum, unpaid." "Did he visit recently?" "A week before the sightings began, then left." "Did he go alone?" "I don't know." Poirot paused. "Does he know the passageways?" "He grew up here." Poirot said, "He's capable of this?" She didn't answer. Poirot stood. "One more thing. Where's the Earl's diary now?" "Lower shelf. Red spine, gold corners." Poirot nodded. "Merci." They left the room. Hastings waited nearby. Poirot spoke low. "She knows more." "About what?" "The jewels. Nigel. Why lie?" "She's protecting someone." "Reginald?" "Possibly." They entered the library. Poirot moved to the shelf. Found the diary, leather cover, locked. He picked the clasp. It opened. Handwritten notes. Poirot flipped pages. One stood out. "The fire must protect the stone. Where heat ends, legacy begins." He closed the book. "Code," he muttered. Hastings asked, "A map?" "Number A direction." Poirot returned the book. Then asked, "Where's Nigel now?" "London, supposedly." "Verify it." "How?" "Telegraph his hotel. Ask if he checked in." Hastings nodded. Poirot said, "Don't use your name." He walked to the hall. Mrs. Lacey passed by. He stopped her. "Has Nigel written?" "No." "Called?" "No." "He's silent?" "Yes." Poirot nodded. He turned back to Hastings. "Too quiet." "Too convenient," Hastings added. Poirot agreed. Poirot glanced back toward the library. "He gambles more than money," he said. Hastings asked, "What, then?" "Perhaps trust." It came again, this time with a dagger. The great hall was dark again. No one spoke. Poirot stood behind the central column. Hastings hid behind a mirror. Bradshaw waited near the main door. Lanterns off, clock ticking. Then movement, a faint hiss. A glow emerged from the far wall. The figure returned. Same height, same slow motion, same silent flames, but now it held something. A dagger, glowing red, dripping. It raised its hand, traced letters mid-air. New word. Vengeance. Poirot whispered, "Steady." The figure turned, looked toward the fireplace, paused, then stepped back. It vanished through the wall. Poirot moved, fast, to the wall panel, pressed the corner. It didn't open. He turned. "Go," he said. Bradshaw sprinted toward the side door. Hastings ran to the passage by the staircase. Poirot crouched near where the figure had stood. He scanned the floor. Something glinted. A small object. Poirot picked it up, cloth-wrapped. He unwrapped it. A cufflink, silver, heavy. One word engraved. Poirot turned it over. A symbol. 2 animals? Lion, serpent? He pocketed it. Bradshaw returned. No sign. Hastings followed. "Passage is empty." Poirot stood. "No footprints." "Nothing fresh," Hastings said. Poirot nodded. He walked to the message area. Traced the last glowing mark. Red liquid. Still dripping. He sniffed. "Port and dye." Bradshaw asked, "No blood?" "No." Poirot looked down. Spots of the same red trailed toward the panel, then stopped. He followed them. Same direction, same end point. Poirot tapped the wall, then again. Still sealed. He faced the mirrors. Same reflection pattern, he said. Hastings joined him. Same angles? Yes, but the movement, faster, more confident, more desperate. Poirot turned to the fireplace. Kneeling, he checked the stones. A fine layer of powder. The same chemical scent. He stood, faced Sir Reginald, now entering the hall. It came again, Reginald said. Yes, Poirot answered, with a warning. Was it blood? No. Message? Vengeance. Sir Reginald swallowed hard. Poirot said, No one else saw the figure? Only Bradshaw, Hastings, and myself. Poirot nodded. Mrs. Lacey entered, her face blank. Poirot said, Have all staff accounted for? Yes, she said. None are missing. Poirot stepped forward. Then the person entered from outside. Sir Reginald asked, From where? Poirot paused. We'll confirm that next. He reached into his coat, pulled out the cufflink, held it up. The crest, he said. Hastings leaned in. Pembroke, he said. Poirot nodded once. Yes. You must let the ghost feel alone, to make it appear. Poirot stood in the great hall, lantern in hand. He adjusted a mirror, turned it 2 inches, stepped back. Again, he said. Hastings moved the second mirror. Poirot nodded. Hold. Bradshaw entered. All doors secured. Good, Poirot said. He pointed. You stand there, near the west column. Bradshaw took position. Poirot continued adjusting the layout. 4 mirrors faced center. 2 angled toward the fireplace. 1 above the gallery. He walked the path between them. Each reflection must strike the same point, he said. Hastings watched. What exactly will it do? Reveal the trick. He lit a candle, held it low. The flame reflected, then bounced. Same path as before, but brighter. Poirot moved it again. Bradshaw asked, We'll see him. If he appears, and if he doesn't, he will. Poirot checked the wall panel. Still sealed. He tapped twice. No response. He nodded. Hastings asked, What's our formation? You and Bradshaw stay hidden. 1 left, 1 right. Hastings moved behind a curtain. Bradshaw crouched behind the side statue. Poirot stepped back. Silence. No movement. They waited. Minutes passed. Poirot sat on the far bench. He didn't speak. He didn't move. The lanterns remained dim. Time crawled. The long case clock ticked. Poirot looked at it. 5 minutes to midnight. He stood again, checked the center of the hall, still empty. He whispered, Not yet. Bradshaw didn't respond. Hastings didn't move. Poirot stepped closer to the mirror wall. No sound. Then, 1 tick louder, midnight. A sharp click, low scrape. A panel near the floor slid open. No footsteps, only a draft. Something had entered. Flames danced, but the man behind them shook. The panel slid. No sound followed. Poirot raised his hand. Stillness. Then light. Faint at first. Growing. The figure stepped forward. Same flames. Same cloak, but faster now. It moved toward the center. Poirot gave no signal. The phantom turned, lifted its arm, a dagger in hand. The blade glowed. Liquid dripped. Red. It moved in a circle. Then stopped. It turned toward the main mirrors. Poirot nodded once. Hastings moved. He raised his lantern. Beam hit the first mirror. The light bounced. Poirot redirected a second beam. Bradshaw did the same. The trap activated. All mirrors converged. The flames blurred, then twisted. The figure froze. Light bounced back at him. He stepped backward. Poirot stepped out from cover. Now, he said. Hastings rushed forward. Bradshaw flanked from the right. The figure turned, ran, to the fireplace. Poirot moved quickly, blocked the panel. The figure shifted direction, sprinted toward the side corridor. Lantern light followed. Flames flickered unevenly. The reflection cracked. The figure's outline faded. Still running, Hastings shouted, "There!" They closed in. The figure reached for the far wall, pressed something. A new panel slid. He slipped through. Hastings was seconds behind. He reached for the cloak, grabbed fabric, pulled hard. The figure broke free, but something fell. The hood. It hit the ground. Hastings saw the face. 1 second. Clear view. Hastings froze. "Nigel," he said. The figure vanished down the passage. Truth didn't fall like a stone. It cracked like glass. Nigel sat in the chair. His hands trembled. Poirot stood across from him. Hastings and Bradshaw watched, silently. Sir Reginald remained in the doorway. Poirot placed the cufflink on the table. "You dropped this," he said. Nigel looked at it, said nothing. Poirot continued. "We saw your face." Still silence. Poirot moved closer. "You've been in and out. At night, through the lake." Nigel looked down. Poirot placed the diary beside the cufflink. "You were looking for the jewels." No reply. Poirot opened a small envelope. "Zinc sulfide. You used it to glow." Still nothing. Poirot pointed. "The dagger, the mirror system, the powder, all designed, all precise." Nigel raised his head. "I needed the money." "How much?" Poirot asked. 15,000. "Monte Carlo?" "Yes." "Gambling?" "Yes." Sir Reginald stepped forward. "Why didn't you ask me?" "I did, twice. And I said no." Nigel's voice cracked. "Because you wanted me gone." Poirot interrupted. "And so you used fear?" Nigel nodded. Poirot asked, "How did you learn the mirror trick?" "There was a show in Monte Carlo, a stage illusion. Same technique, flames, movement. I copied it." "You returned here alone?" "Yes." "You planned everything?" "Yes." "You learned the house paths?" "I knew them as a child." Poirot asked, "Why the messages?" "To scare them, make them leave, so I could search freely." "You wrote more, then vengeance. Why?" "First, for fear. Second, for effect." Poirot nodded. "You faked the blood. Port wine. Red dye." Poirot asked, "Where's the rest of your equipment?" "In the shed. Behind the greenhouse." "Who helped you?" "No one." "Who knew?" "No one." Poirot looked at Hastings. "Check the shed. Recover all items." Hastings left. Nigel said, "I didn't want to hurt anyone." Poirot replied, "You did anyway." Nigel didn't answer. Bradshaw stepped forward. "Do I arrest him?" Poirot paused, then looked at Sir Reginald. "Your call." Sir Reginald didn't respond. Poirot stepped away, then turned back. "Your story isn't finished." Nigel looked up. Poirot said, "You were looking in the wrong place." Words from the past often hold keys to the present. Poirot sat in the library. The Earl's diary was open. Leather cover, yellowed pages. He turned carefully. Line by line, notes, sketches, lists. Then, something different. A riddle. "Flames shall guard the treasure where no eyes linger." Poirot underlined the sentence. He flipped back 2 pages, found a date. 51 years ago, same day, as the ball. He checked the next page. Where heat ends, legacy begins. He closed the book. Hastings entered. All items recovered. The shed was full. Poirot nodded. "Good." He handed Hastings the diary. "Read this." Hastings scanned it. "Clues? Yes. Directions. To the jewels? Possibly." Poirot took the book again. He matched phrases. One repeated. "Fire, stone, hidden, watch the flame." Poirot stood. "We go to the great hall." They reached the hall. Empty. No noise, no figure. Poirot walked to the fireplace. He pointed. Start here." Hastings watched as Poirot checked the mantel, each carving, each groove. Then he stopped. "A lion," he said. Sir Reginald entered. "What now?" Poirot pointed. "This carving. Look closer." Reginald stepped forward. Same lion as on the family crest, but one difference. The mouth was open. Other carvings, closed mouths. Poirot ran a finger inside the mouth, felt resistance. Then, movement. A slight click. He stepped back. Something shifted. Hastings moved closer. "Trap?" "Hidden catch," Poirot said. Sir Reginald asked, "What does it open?" "We'll see." Poirot pressed the mouth again. Nothing happened. He turned to the ground, tapped one of the hearthstones. Hollow. He pressed again. A seam revealed itself, very thin, too precise for decoration. Poirot nodded. "This is it." Bradshaw entered. "You called for me?" Poirot said, "Watch this area. No one comes near." Bradshaw took a post. Poirot faced the wall again. He placed both hands on the lion carving, shifted it right. Another click. A stone moved inward. Poirot stepped back. The floor vibrated slightly, then stopped. He knelt, brushed dust from the base. Another seam, lower now, more narrow. Poirot stood. "We're close," Hastings asked. "A compartment?" "Yes, not in the wall, beneath." Poirot pointed to a tile. It had a corner chip. "Flawed tile. Doesn't match others." He tapped it. It echoed, differently. Poirot said, "This one doesn't belong." The hearth didn't just hold heat, it held history. Poirot tapped the chipped tile again. It sounded hollow. He pressed down. Nothing moved. He turned to Sir Reginald. "Bring me a flat tool." Metal, Reginald left. Hastings knelt beside Poirot. "You think it opens?" "It must." Bradshaw stood nearby, watching silently. Reginald returned, handed Poirot a letter opener. Poirot wedged it into the corner of the tile. He twisted carefully. A pop. The tile lifted, slightly. Poirot pulled it free. Underneath, stone, thin edge, etched line. Another compartment. Poirot ran his hand around the opening. Found a latch, pressed it. A soft click. He pulled. The stone shifted outward. Inside, a narrow recess. A small box sat in the center, wooden, ornate, locked. Poirot lifted it. "Weight matches expectations," he said. He turned the box, checked the hinges, old but stable. Sir Reginald stepped forward. "Is that?" "Yes," Poirot said. "Stand back." He took a thin pin from his pocket, pressed the lock. It clicked open. He lifted the lid. Inside, layers of cloth. He unwrapped the top. Jewels, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, all clean, untouched. No dust, no signs of aging. Poirot nodded. The Candish jewels. Hastings stared. No wonder Nigel tried so hard. Poirot closed the lid. He held the box with both hands. Sir Reginald exhaled. "I never believed they were real." "They were protected," Poirot said. "By design." "Hidden for 50 years." "Yes." "Why here?" Poirot pointed at the diary in Hastings' hand. "The Earl wrote clearly. Fire, stone, no eyes. It fits." Bradshaw stepped closer. "What now?" Poirot handed him the box. "Secure this. Guard it." Bradshaw took it, carefully. Poirot walked to the side wall, checked the mirrors again. He pointed to the one angled at the fireplace. "Used to distract," he said, "to point away from the truth." Hastings asked, "You think Nigel suspected this spot?" "No." "Why not?" "Because it was too obvious." Poirot walked back to the fireplace. He crouched, checked the tiles surrounding the hollow, then stood. He dusted off his hands, turned toward Reginald. "You may seal it again, but don't forget where it was." Sir Reginald said, "We won't." Poirot paused, stared at the hearth, then looked at Hastings. He said, "But it's not just the jewels, Hastings." Hastings asked. Then what? Poirot replied, It's what they were meant to protect. Illusions are only magical until you know where to look. Poirot called everyone to the great hall. The mirrors remained in place. The floor was clean. Bradshaw stood near the door. Nigel sat under guard. Sir Reginald and Mrs. Lacey watched. Poirot stepped forward. He pointed at the mirror above the fireplace. This began with one illusion. He tapped the second mirror on the left wall. Then 4 more, all aligned, each angled precisely. He looked at Nigel. You copied this from Monte Carlo. Nigel nodded. A stage show. Fire ghost. Same system. Poirot addressed the room. Zinc sulfide was the key. He held up a cloth. It glowed, faintly, under lantern light. He continued. The figure wore powder-coated fabric. He pointed at the center. Light bounced from one mirror to the next, reflected back. The illusion formed here. He stepped back. Add motion. Add smoke. Add darkness. Hastings asked, What about the sound? Poirot walked to the far alcove, opened a wooden panel. Inside, an old gramophone. He cranked it once, pressed the switch. A faint moaning sound played. Hidden here, Poirot said. Pre-recorded, used during each appearance. He turned. It off. Voices, screams, wind, all fake. Poirot turned back to Nigel. You moved through the passage, entered from the lake, triggered the mirror setup. Nigel said nothing. Poirot continued. Each sighting, timed, same hour, same mirrors, same route. He stepped toward the fireplace. You controlled every reflection. Sir Reginald asked, How did he keep the angles perfect? Poirot pulled a small case from his coat, opened it. Inside, protractor, ruler, notes, found in Nigel's room. Every mirror marked, each measurement exact. Mrs. Lacey asked, The writing in the air? Poirot took out a thin rod, tipped with sulfide, written slowly, light reflected, through mirror line. Words seemed to float. Hastings asked, And the blood? Port, mixed with dye, same trick, same bottle. Poirot walked to the dock wall. Entry point confirmed. Boat marks, glove. Passage connects here. He looked at Nigel. You returned. Multiple nights. Nigel didn't deny it. Poirot faced the group. This was not magic. It was planning. He pointed again. Mirrors were not decoration. They were weapons. Zinc sulfide was not random. It was researched. Gramophone was not a relic. It was deployed. Poirot's tone stayed calm. No spirit, no curse, no phantom. Only a man. He walked to the center of the hall, then turned, slowly. He said, But fear did most of the work. A family's honor stood on the edge of scandal. Nigel sat in the study. Bradshaw stood near the door. Poirot entered first. Sir Reginald followed. No one spoke. A full minute passed. Poirot placed a file on the desk. All facts are here, he said. Reginald opened it. He skimmed the pages. Diary, cufflink, map of mirror placements, powder sample, Nigel's travel receipts. He closed the folder, looked up. You planned it all? Nigel didn't raise his eyes. Yes. Reginald asked, You came back only for the jewels. I came back because I had no choice. You lied to everyone. Nigel nodded, silently. Poirot didn't move. Reginald said, You used fear against your own house. I was desperate. Reginald turned to Poirot. What does the law say? Poirot answered, Forgery, fraud, trespassing, staged threat, theft attempt. And the penalty? Prison, 2 years, minimum. Nigel flinched. Reginald exhaled. He turned to Bradshaw. Leave us. Bradshaw stepped out. The door closed. Reginald stayed silent, then faced Nigel. You will leave tonight." Nigel looked up. No questions, no delay. Reginald added, "You will not speak to anyone here again." Nigel asked, "Where do I go?" "That's your burden." Poirot watched, closely. Reginald's voice dropped. "If you ever return, I will not protect you." Nigel stood, slowly. Poirot asked, "And the jewels?" "They stay," Reginald said, "where they belong." Nigel nodded, walked out. No words. Poirot stepped toward Reginald. "You could have pressed charges." Reginald said, "This family has seen enough shame." Poirot replied, "The law can be just." Reginald looked down. So can silence. Hastings entered. "A car's waiting." Poirot nodded. "Let him go," Reginald said. Nigel exited through the main doors. No one followed. Hastings watched from the window. "He's gone." Poirot turned. "Now we wait." "For what?" Hastings asked. Poirot said nothing. Hours passed. Lady Elena arrived, escorted to the drawing-room. Poirot greeted her. "You missed the ghost," he said. She raised an eyebrow. He handed her the diary. "You may read this." She did. Slowly. After minutes, she closed it, then asked, "Who was it?" Poirot replied, "Nigel." She sighed. Reginald stood beside her. She didn't look at him. Poirot said, "No more secrets remain." Lady Elena said, "I came to escape scandal." Poirot nodded. "You walked into one." She said nothing, then turned to Reginald. "You made the right decision." He didn't respond. She turned to leave. Poirot followed her to the hallway. "Madam," he said. She stopped. Poirot said, "The justice of the heart is often heavier than that of law." Sunlight touched Ashworth Hall for the first time in days. Poirot walked along the garden path. Hastings followed. Bradshaw trimmed a hedge. Silently, the estate felt quiet. No sounds from the hall, no shadows behind glass. Poirot stopped. Near the sundial, he faced the house. "All performances end," he said. Hastings nodded. "No more ghost. No more mirror tricks." Poirot turned. "Fear, that was the real engine." Hastings asked, "You think Nigel regrets it?" "He feared failure more than crime." Poirot looked at the trimmed bush. Greed sharpened the illusion. Hastings stepped closer, and yet he found nothing. Poirot replied, "Because he looked through deception, not truth." Bradshaw joined them. "Repairs have started," he said. Mrs. Lacey gave orders. Poirot nodded. "Let the house breathe again." They walked toward the main door. Lady Elena stood so at the entrance. She greeted Poirot, a nod. Poirot said, "The hall remains yours." "For now," she replied. Poirot said nothing more. She walked inside. Reginald stood in the drawing-room. Poirot entered, alone. Reginald poured tea. No words. Poirot placed a sealed envelope on the table. "From Nigel," he said. Reginald didn't open it. Poirot turned to leave. Stopped. "He left a name behind," he said. "Don't let it rot." Reginald nodded. Poirot exited. He found Hastings in the hallway. "Time to go," Poirot said. They stepped outside. The car waited. Hastings loaded their cases. Poirot faced the hall one last time. The doors were closed, curtains drawn, but the air felt different, clearer. He turned to Hastings. "Let us go." The car began to move, down the gravel road. No one waved, no one chased. They passed the lake. Still water, empty dock, nothing hidden now, just reflection. Hastings asked, "Do you think there are other phantoms?" Poirot replied, "Always." Every solved mystery leaves behind a different one. Silence. The car rolled past the outer gates. Ashworth Hall disappeared. behind trees. Poirot sat still. Hastings checked his notebook. 18 mirrors, he said. Poirot nodded. 1 gramophone. 1 box of jewels. 2 broken hearts, Hastings added. Poirot didn't respond. The road bent, left. Gravel snapped under tires. Hastings closed the notebook. No signs of Nigel, Poirot said. He left last night. Train at 3:45. To where? Unknown. Silence filled the next mile. Poirot opened his pocket diary, crossed out a name, closed it. Bradshaw stays behind? Yes, to guard the estate. Reginald will recover, slowly. Poirot looked out the window. Fear broke him more than the scandal. Hastings said, he lost both reputation and nephew. Poirot replied, and nearly the truth. Another mile passed. Fields gave way to small cottages. Poirot turned slightly. We solved the illusion, but not the family. No detective can. Hastings folded his arms. Do you think Nigel will return? No. You sound certain. He understands consequences now. The car slowed. A herd crossed the road. Poirot waited, watched each movement, noted rhythm, then leaned back. Human deception, he said. Always the same formula. Fear, greed, and timing. Poirot nodded. Hastings leaned forward. You think he would have confessed without the trap? No. So mirrors win the case? Poirot said. Mirrors only reveal. They don't accuse. Hastings went quiet. He turned to Poirot. Did you ever believe in the ghost? Poirot smirked. I believe in the people who pretend. They passed a sign. Next station, 5 miles. Hastings tapped the window. Sunlight's back. Poirot said, that too returns after illusion breaks. Hastings shook his head. You should write a book. I write truth, not stories. Hastings smiled. Poirot checked his watch. 11 minutes to train. Plenty of time. Poirot adjusted his cuffs. You recorded all statements. Every one. Timeline built? By the hour. Evidence secured? Left with Bradshaw. Poirot nodded, then said nothing. Hastings muttered, Let's hope the next case doesn't burn as much. Poirot looked forward. But what if it does?